welcome to Tokyo Disney Adventures, my channel for all things Tokyo Disney and Tokyo Disney Sea. Today I'm going to be talking about your first time at Disney, what you can expect, what you can plan, and some tips and tricks to help you out. A lot of blogs and videos on this subject kind of focus on conquering Disney, and I want to focus on having the best experience. I don't think Disney Sea is a park you conquer, I think it's one you come back to time and time again and have a great experience. Although it's been a while since I've been a first timer at the parks, I still think I can offer some tips and tricks that will help you make the best of your experiences. The first decision you need to make when planning a trip to Disney is when in the year you want to go. Now there are different events throughout the year that can be really exciting because there is themed merchandise, parades, shows and food depending on the time of year that you go. If there's one thing in particular that you really want to see, such as Duffy in summer or the Halloween celebrations, you want to plan your visit around those times. So I think the first thing you need to do is your research and decide whether or not you want to go for spring, for summer, for the Halloween season or even Christmas. Another thing to consider when deciding when to go are public holidays, school holidays and other big events in Japan. During the Olympics you'll find that attendance is really high. You'll also find attendance really high during Golden Week, which is at the end of April, and also around Christmas time and early January where a lot of workers get time off work. Spring break and graduation fall between February and March, so that's another time you might want to avoid, as well as the summer holidays in August. Just because it's a school holiday or a public holiday doesn't mean you can't enjoy your time at Disney, but it will mean that crowds are much busier, wait times are much longer, and the parks might even hit capacity. You'll also want to consider what rides might be closed during the time that you're visiting, as well as weather concerns, so typhoon season, the very hot summers, the very cold winters. Make sure you plan accordingly. Disney actually recommends that you start planning your trip around 3 months in advance because that gives you enough time to work out what you want to see, where you want to stay and get things sorted. I agree that 3 months is probably enough time, but you can start planning things earlier, especially if you're really excited and you're already doing research into going. How much you can actually accomplish at the parks depends on how long you've got there and what time of year you're going. But I recommend you pick 3 attractions that are your top 3 for each park that you really want to do, and those are your main focus for the days that you're in the park. It also might be worth picking out some shows and some parades that you really want to see, especially if you're going during rainy season, as that's a great time to go and see them. If there is a particular show that you really want to see, you can save time by doing the lottery in each park. In the same way that you scan for FastPass, you can scan your entry ticket and it'll enter you into a lottery in order to win tickets. You can enter once a day per park and it gives you an opportunity to see shows that you would otherwise have to queue for. This can be a great way to see shows and save time. You scan your tickets together as a group so that not one person is left out, and if you're unsuccessful you can try again the next day. For buying tickets to the parks, I highly recommend you buy them in advance if you can. You can buy them online up to 2 months in advance and you can use MasterCard, although some cards don't work with the Japanese system. You can also visit a lot of the Disney stores around Tokyo that sell tickets for you in person. There's only a few that actually do this, so it's worth looking up online which ones do. This can be a great way for you to beat the queues and get your tickets in advance if you're unable to do so online. When buying your tickets to Disney, you'll need to specify which park you're going to on which day. If you buy a 4-day ticket, you pick Disneyland as your first day or Disney Sea as your first day. The second day is then the alternate park, and then your third and fourth days are hopper days, which means you can travel between the parks. I would recommend for your first time at Disney, 4 days. Unless you're a die-hard Disney nut and you want to spend all of your time in Japan at Disneyland, 4 days is about right. It gives you a full day in each park to really focus on seeing those top 3 attractions, and then the rest of the time to fill in all the other things that you've missed. I think any longer and you're missing out on all the other great things that Japan has to offer, and any less might mean that you do miss things. For your first time at Disney, I do recommend that you stay on property or nearby in one of the partner hotels or an Airbnb. Disney days can be really long, and if you're not used to travelling in every day, it can be quite hard. One of the other perks of staying nearby means that if you've bought a lot of merch, you can easily return it to your hotel and then come back and explore the park without all your bags. Speaking of merchandise, the Emporium as you enter both parks sells the best of the park merchandise. You'll get the most popular items here. However, it doesn't carry everything, so specific characters, specific rides, and some specific merchandise is not available in the Emporium. If you've seen something online and it's not in the Emporium, it's probably at another store within the park or at one of the stalls. There are also shops within the hotels that sell exclusive merchandise and pins that you can only get by visiting the hotel shops. Although you can get limited edition pins and you can get exclusive pins at the park, pin trading is not a thing at Tokyo Disney. I also recommend that you arrive early to the parks. Even if it's a weekday and it's off-peak, you'll want to arrive around an hour early. People start queuing up from an hour before, and if you haven't bought your tickets, this is the perfect time to do that and then join the queues. Actual entry into the park happens quite quickly, but people really go for those fast passes, and you'll find a lot of them do sell out before midday. You want to get there early, join the queues, and then make your way into the park with everybody. If you've been unlucky enough to miss Fast Pass, some rides do have single rider available, and these are listed on the Tokyo Disney website. Simply go up the Fast Pass entrance, explain that you want to be a single rider, and they'll give you a ticket similar to a Fast Pass ticket. You then go up the Fast Pass queue and hand in your single rider ticket, and they'll send you to a separate queue which is just for single riders. This allows you to cut a lot of the queue, and if you're not precious about who you sit next to and you just want to ride something, it's a great way to get on some of the rides that you would otherwise miss. Previously, Tokyo Disney was a traditional Fast Pass park, which meant you had to queue up, scan your ticket and get a paper Fast Pass. They now have an app that allows you to get Fast Pass using your phone and not having to queue up. Because of that, you're seeing a lot of rides like Soarin' and Toy Story, their Fast Passes run out a lot quicker, and a lot of people are not being able to get them with a simple paper Fast Pass. Unfortunately, the app is only in Japanese at the moment, which means unless you're willing to kind of fumble your way through it and download it onto your phone, it's very hard for you to then access this Fast Pass. I'm hoping that with the Olympics coming in 2020, they will make this app available in English and other languages. If your heart is set on riding some of the really big Fast Pass rides, I would recommend trying your best and downloading the app. The app also has wait times and other park information that you might otherwise miss as you're going around the park. Speaking of mobile apps, you're going to want to bring your own Wi-Fi. There is no Wi-Fi in the parks, and so you will not have any access to the internet unless you have portable Wi-Fi. Portable Wi-Fi in Japan is a good idea in general, but it also really helps when you're at the parks. Maybe you're in a queue, maybe you want to send some photos online, or chat to your friends, or meet up with somebody later, and having the internet accessible is a really great way to do that. A lot of the park characters wander about and don't have set meeting spaces. However, if you are interested in meeting specific characters, there's a separate map, one for the park and one for parades, shows and character greetings. For characters that have set locations, there's Mickey Mouse's house in Toontown where you can meet most of the VIPs. There's Donald and Daisy in Western Land, where they wear their woodchuck outfits, and there's also a special ticketed event outside the town pavilion where you can meet special characters. At the moment, I believe it's Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde from Zootopia. At Disney Sea, they're a lot more loose with the character meet and greets. There are 3 locations where you can meet surprise characters. That's the Waterfront Plaza, the Arabian Coast, and the Entrance Plaza. There's no queue, so you kind of just gather around the character and wait to be picked or put yourself forward for an interaction, and then you'll get your photo taken. It's completely normal behaviour to give your phone or camera to another guest or to the cast member and ask for them to take your photo. If you are travelling in by train and you're not staying at the park, you can use your Suica and your Pasmo passes on the Disney monorail. This can save you a little bit of money and time if you've already got these to hand. Most people will recommend Disney Sea if you've only got one day to explore the parks. However, I think it depends on what you want to get from your Disney experience. If you want the traditional Disney experience with the castle and the princesses and some really cool exclusive rides, then I would say go to Disneyland. However, if you want something different and you want to experience something completely new, then I would definitely recommend Disney Sea. If you're travelling with people that aren't huge fans of Disney, Disney Sea is also a great way for them to enjoy themselves as well. Those are my top tips for planning a trip to Disneyland for your first time. While I haven't covered everything, I think it's a good starting base for you to then make your own decisions. I really want to do another video on how to survive a rainy day at the Disney parks, as I think a lot of people are disheartened by the rainy weather, but there are actually a lot of exclusive things that only happen on a rainy day, so that can make your experience so much better. I'm also going to do a video in future on tips and tricks of being a cosplayer at the Disney parks, as that's something that I do as well. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon.